So accommodation of religious beliefs and practices is a little bit different from the requirement under disabilities law. Usually, the kinds of accommodations that people need for their religious beliefs or practices have to do with two main areas. The employer's grooming or dress code requirements, which might conflict with a person's religious beliefs or practices, and the employer's scheduling requirements, which might conflict with a person's time needed for religious holidays or Sabbath observance. Taking the grooming and appearance standards first, it's now very clear that employers must accommodate, regardless of what their standard appearance requirement is. They must make exceptions for people whose religion requires that they dress in a different way. There was a Supreme Court decision recently that said the Abercrombie and Fitch store had violated Title VII because it didn't hire a young woman who wore a hijab. And the store had a policy that they didn't want their associates wearing anything on their heads. But they were required to consider making an adjustment to that rule and allowing her to wear the hijab, unless, and again, the law is similar to that under disabilities law. The employer can show it would be an undue hardship to do that, and that burden is not quite so onerous. But something more needs to be said than just, it's our rule that people not wear anything on their heads. With the scheduling requirements, employers have to make adjustments that maybe would allow people to swap shifts with someone else so that the person who needs Saturday for their religious observances has that day free and another employee covers their time. But the employer might say that's a hardship because there aren't enough people to cover that other time, or just it would be essential that everyone be available to work on Saturday, and then the person's religious practice couldn't be accommodated.